Hello BBN. Kentucky reaches the top 10 of the 2027 recruiting. Marcus Spears Jr. Would he be a great addition for the Cats? Let's evaluate the news. But first I invite you to subscribe to the channel to follow the news from Kentucky this time. The name that emerges as one of the most promising targets is Marcus Spears Jr., a young wing who is already emerging as one of the biggest promises of the 2027 class. Considered the 9th best rising high school student in the country by the On3 industry ranking, Spears has caught the attention of some of the biggest powers in college basketball, including Duke, Arizona, Arkansas, and Maryland. In addition to Kentucky itself, the question that hangs in the air, however, is whether Spears will actually choose to wear the blue and white of the Wildcats or will he follow another path. Since the contact period officially opened last weekend, Kentucky has been tirelessly working to connect with top talent from the next generation. Spears is one of those names, and his inclusion on the Wildcats' priority list comes as no surprise. The youngster, who currently attends Dynamic Prep Plano TX, has impressive credentials both on and off the court. His recent performance at the FIBA AmeriCup U16, where he helped Team USA win the gold medal in Mexico, was a real calling card, averaging 14 points, 6.5 rebounds, 2 steals, 1.8 blocks, and 1.7 assists per game. He has proven himself to be a versatile and dominant player capable of impacting the game in multiple areas. His shooting efficiency to 60.8% overall, 35.3% on threes and 72.7% on free throws only reinforces the idea that we are looking at a special talent. Kentucky's interest in Spears is nothing new. Associate head coach Alvin Brooks had already visited the Spears family in April for a brief conversation, signaling the beginning of this rapprochement. However, what is now striking is the program's attitude toward Mark Pope. Since taking over the Wildcats, Pope has demonstrated a remarkable ability to build bridges with the new generations, something that was evident in the words of Marcus Spears Sr., the young star's father. "I know the history of Kentucky basketball," Spears Sr. said in an interview with KSR+. "I know Mark Pope did a great job this year. He did it with a lot of transfers and obviously made it to the tournament. Historically, Kentucky is obviously one of the blue blood teams. That's what I know about him." These words carry significant weight. Despite still being in his early years at the helm of the program, Pope has already managed to recapture some of the luster that made Kentucky a benchmark in college basketball. His ability to attract high-level players, whether through transfers or elite recruits, has been a differentiator. And now, with the focus on 2027, it's clear that the coach is willing to put in the time and effort to ensure the Wildcats are different and competitive. However, the final decision will be up to Marcus Spears Jr., and that's where the question that could loom over his choice comes in. While Kentucky has an unquestionable tradition and offers an unparalleled platform for young talent, the competition will be fierce. Other prestigious programs, such as Duke and Arizona, also have plenty to offer, and Spears will have to carefully evaluate which path best aligns with his personal ambitions. Then there's the family factor. His father, Marcus Spears Sr., had a successful NFL career after excelling at LSU, which could influence his decision to stay close to home or seek a new competitive environment. Despite these uncertainties, there's palpable optimism surrounding a potential match between Spears and Kentucky. Assistant coach Mikhail McLean, who represented the United Kingdom in the FIBA AmeriCup U16, has had the opportunity to observe the young winger's talent up close and will certainly be among those advocating for an official offer. So far, the Wildcats have already extended offers to 2 2027 recruits: Baba Oladoton, considered the second-best player in the class, and Obinna Exie Jr., the 4th-ranked overall pick. Adding Spears to that list would be a masterstroke, further cementing Kentucky's position. Will he make it? In a scenario where college basketball has been plagued by structural changes, with the NIL and the transfer portal craze, Oweh emerges as an anchor of stability for a program looking to reaffirm its greatness. The forward's decision to return to Kentucky, after flirting with the NBA draft, is not only a victory for coach Mark Pope, but a sign that the allure of playing at Rupp Arena still carries great weight. Oweh, who arrived at Kentucky after a remarkable stint at Oklahoma, established himself as a central piece in the Wildcats' rotation last season. With impressive averages of 16.2 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 1.7 assists per game, he proved to be more than a transition athlete. He is a competitor who combines athletic explosion with a focused mentality, characteristics that make him indispensable to the Wildcats' ambitions of a national title. His decision to return, even with the possibility of testing the waters of the NBA, reflects not only confidence in Mark Pope's project, but also a commitment to his own development in one of the most demanding arenas in college basketball. NIL era, which has transformed college sports into a dynamic market, has raised some questions. Oweh, with his easygoing smile, summed it up with disarming candor. "They're paying us. That's it. It's great, for sure, but I don't really follow that kind of deal. As long as we're getting paid, that's fine with me." The statement, reported by On3's Daniel Hager, reflects the perspective of an athlete who, despite being at the center of the financial changes shaking up the NCAA, remains focused on what happens on the field. For him, the NIL is a reality that has been embedded in his college experience since the beginning, a constant that doesn't change the essence of the locker room. But his reality is simple as a way suggests. His assertion that the NIL hasn't changed college athletics locker rooms because that's when the NIL started, and he's used to it, raises questions that go beyond his own experience. For a veteran like Away who entered college at the exact moment the rules of the game changed, the NIL may seem like a natural fit. But for incoming freshmen in Lexington or for programs struggling to balance budgets and ambitions, the monetization of athletes' names and likenesses has introduced a new layer of complexity. How do locker rooms deal with the financial disparity between players who get lucrative deals and those who don't have the same market appeal? And, more importantly, would Oweh's decision to return to Kentucky have been the same without the financial security that the NIL provides? Oweh's response, with its almost detached calm, can be interpreted as reflecting the mindset of a player who prioritizes basketball over outside distractions. But it also leaves room for speculation. The fact that he doesn't go along with that kind of deal suggests that for some athletes, the NIL is less a cultural revolution and more a practical benefit, a bonus that doesn't redefine camaraderie or team dynamics. Still, it's hard to ignore the broader impact. The transfer portal, coupled with the NIL, has created an environment where loyalty to a program can be tested by more attractive offers from other teams. Oweh's return, then, is not just a sports victory, but a testament to Mark Pope's work in cultivating an environment where players still see value in staying. Under Pope, Kentucky seems to be finding a balance between tradition and modernity. The coach, who took over with big tasks, has done something different. Oweh is a guy Pope made the right move to bring back. His presence on the roster is an asset for a team with national championship dreams, especially in a year when SEC competition promises to be fierce. Oweh's impact goes beyond the numbers. His ability to score in crucial moments, combined with his versatility to contribute rebounds and playmaking, makes him a pillar of Pope's tactical scheme. And he's certainly a difference maker for Kentucky. Dane Key's decision to leave the Kentucky Wildcats for the Nebraska Cornhuskers is more than just a geographic or athletic move. It's a profound reflection of the internal issues and challenges that the Kentucky football program has faced. In recent years, the departure of Key, who was one of the team's leading receivers and a local pride as a Lexington native, is something of a wake-up call about the importance of stability and consistency in high-level programs, something that the Wildcats' offense has seemed to lack lately. Key was blunt in his statements 2-on-3, explaining that his decision wasn't impulsive, but rather the result of a careful analysis of his history at Kentucky. The phrase "it was time for a change" carries with it a mix of frustration and hope. Frustration because, in 3 seasons, he has had to adapt to 3 different offensive coordinators, each bringing their own philosophy and style of play. This constant instability directly affects the performance of players, especially those at key positions like wide receiver, who rely on a solid connection with the quarterback and a clear understanding of the offensive system. For Key, this lack of consistency became unsustainable. In addition, quarterback turnover was another crucial factor in the decision. In 3 years, Key has worked with 3 different quarterbacks, which makes it even more difficult to develop effective chemistry. On offense, in college football where eligibility time is limited and expectations are high, the lack of continuity can be enough to cause talented players to look elsewhere. For Key, the opportunity to play with Dylan Raiola, Nebraska's starting quarterback, represented exactly the type of stability he was looking for. Raiola, described by Key as the complete quarterback, is seen as a natural leader, someone whose work ethic and technical skills inspire confidence both on and off the field. This combination of talent and leadership appears to have been a decisive difference for the wide receiver. Key's selection also reflects a vote of confidence in Matt Rule's project at Nebraska. Despite the Cornhuskers having just won 3-6 conference season in 2024, there have been signs of progress under Rule, who has been trying to rebuild the program since his arrival. Key choosing to join a team in transition demonstrates not only personal ambition, but also a belief that he can play a central role in that renewal process for Kentucky. Key's departure is a significant blow, not only because of the player's talent, but because of the symbolism of losing a homegrown player who could have been a key piece in rebuilding the program. After a disappointing 4-8 campaign in 2024, fans already apprehensive about the direction Mark Stoops is taking may see this as yet another sign that the team is losing key players at a critical time. Still, it's important to note that turnover in college football is an inevitable reality, especially with the advent of the transfer portal and new rules that make it easier for players to move. For Stoops and his coaching staff, Key's departure serves as a reminder that building a competitive program goes beyond recruiting homegrown talent. It's about creating an environment where these players feel they are growing and evolving, both individually and collectively. The instability in the offensive coordinator roles and the lack of continuity on offense are issues that need to be addressed urgently if Kentucky is to avoid more losses like this in the future. For Key, this move represents a new phase in his career, an opportunity to reinvent himself and prove that his decision was motivated not only by the need for stability but also by a clear vision of his potential. The Wildcats are warning about the importance of creating a solid and consistent structure. Can this scenario be improved? We hope so. Comment with your thoughts.